I recently made a video where I stirred up some controversy as I talked about the need for universal basic income and a social credit system as a means to make up for the impact of robotics and AI. Basically, how those things might create a world where we don't need as many people in the labor force. And so I'm seeking an answer to the question, how do people live when we don't need so many people working? And of course, I think there were some very reasonable points brought up about the ways in which this could create a dystopian future. Many people pointed me to an episode of Black Mirror titled Nosedive, which I do think brings up some very valid points. And to me, the real distinction is about subjectivity versus objectivity. In this episode of Black Mirror, what I see is a lot of subjectivity in a social credit system. Basically, where you're relying on almost a social media style approach to what kind of points and credit everyone gets for their role and their interactions in society. And I guess when I think about this, I think more about very objective things. Like someone speeding is losing points. Someone who is using a crosswalk is gaining points. Things that are not just how much somebody liked your social media post or whether or not they felt like their interaction with you was a positive, but rather things that contributed to society in a very real and tangible way. Now, I might still be entirely wrong about this, but what I do think I'm right about is that in a future where we have plenty of labor in the form of robotics, and it's intelligent labor because of AI, it really can replace a lot of what people do in society. If we don't answer this question, or if we leave the answers to this question entirely up to the free market, I think we're setting ourselves up for problems. We're setting ourselves up for trouble. And I do want to say that I agree with those of you who have suggested that the dystopian future suggested in that Black Mirror episode is absolutely not something that we want. And in some ways, I think it's reflective of what we have right now, even as I see it in schools with the way that Instagram impacts people. So yeah, those are my thoughts. My key point,
holding the ball.
Subjectivity versus objectivity. That's the big difference to me.
Oh, when I move, is it up?